I was inspired by the Missouri Star quilt tutorial called The Ring of Fire by Jenny Doan. I was so inspired that I wanted to make a version of my own. And so I am a huge Accuquilt user, and I found a pattern called the Summerfield pattern. And it's not an exact match to the Ring of Fire quilt, but it's close enough for me to reproduce and create for you guys here. So, my name is Tammy. Thanks for joining me. Now let's get into it. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I use the Accuquilt cutting system to cut each element of this block. I'm going to be using the Accuquilt Go Big cutter. Also, I'll show you how you can do this on the Go Me as well. And then I will also show you a little snippet of how I use my vintage sewing machines to piece together the units of this block. Stay tuned. I am going to use the Accuquilt Go Big cutter and the Accuquilt Go Me cutter to cut out the different elements that make up the quilt block here. And this quilt block is from the Summerfield pattern from Accuquilt. Let's get started. I have the Accuquilt 9-inch mix and match set here, and I'll be using only 3 dies from this mix and match set. I'll be using shape number 1, I'll be using shape number 4, and I'll be using shape number 5. So as you can see here, block number 1 or die number 1 is this center square orange. And so I take my fabric. My fabric has already been pre-cut and pre-starched, and I simply place the fabric so that it covers the dark gray area of the die. Place the mat on top, because without a mat nothing happens. Now with this Go Me cutter, you have to kind of use some extra focus here when using it. So what I'm doing is I am pressing down and pushing at the same time I'm using the hand crank to get the cutting process started. And then once it's started, I just put my left hand here to stabilize the cutter so that it doesn't rock around. But you'll see in just a second that, oh, this is a function of my die mat being old. As you can see here, this mat has been used a lot. And with this Go Me cutter, it's not as powerful as the Go Big. So look, it makes a clean cut, but it requires a lot of effort. And therefore, I rarely use my Go Me because I have this machine. So you saw that being done in a Go Me. So for those of you who have the Go Me or are interested in joining the Accuquilt family, but you don't have the budget for this Go Big, you can do this with a Go Me. It just requires a little extra muscle. So that is the first piece. Now, for these pieces, well, actually this one, this one, this one, and this one to make up the Flying Geese unit, I'm going to use my aqua color. And again, this is a pre-cut, pre-starched strip of fabric. And what I'm doing is I'm simply fan folding. So I make sure that I cover the dark gray portion of the die. I put this here. I fan fold it over. So before I place the mat on top of the die, I do a little peek here to make sure that the fabric is covering the edge of this dark gray area of the die on all sides. So I peek there, I peek here, it's covered. And then I also peek on this side, which is covered. So then you simply place the mat on top, and what you see here is just some gray or some green painter's tape. And the reason why I put that there is it's a reminder for me to flip my mat or rotate my mat each time that I use the cutter so that I can extend the life of this mat. So here we go. Here, you just simply scoot it in, power on. Make sure you turn it on. There we go. Now you just simply scoot it in, press it, hands off. Comes through the other side. Rub it a little bit to remove the static. And look. You have all 4 pieces perfectly cut. Where is it? Wait a minute. Oh, here it is. There's that 4th piece. Perfectly cut. I am here with Santiago the Peacemaker. He is one of the members of my vintage sewing machine crew. We're going to show you how to piece together these quarter square triangles, or are they half square triangles? Either way, we're going to show you how we do it here at the Villa Kula with this 104-year-old machine. Here we go. I am using a 1/4-inch foot that was not original to the machine, obviously, but I bought it from a third-party source. I have the 1/4-inch tape here. I typically don't sew with this tape because a 1/4-inch foot gets me to where I need to go. However, since I am sewing basically diagonally here on the line, I just want to make sure that when it feeds in straight, because Santiago is old and he has very powerful feed dogs. And so as I feed the fabric in, he sort of jerks the fabric a little bit. So this tape just helps me maintain a straight seam line. Here are the pieced together half square triangles, and I have this little device here that is absolutely wonderful. It is a thread cutter, and this inside is an old or a dull 45mm rotary cutter blade. And so watch this, guys. You just bloop, 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 and bloop, and then they're all cut. So I typically will press my seams open, and I like to use a clapper when I do that. So let me demonstrate that for you here. So there you have it. Here are the 4 corners to the Summerfield block.